So racial oversensitivity impoverishes our language and robs us of poetry. Now, I'm not all going to argue that we should be insensitive to race and history when we speak. I think it's pretty easy to make a case that we are oversensitive to it. And by we, I mean Americans. There's not real racism built into our language and our attitudes. If I were Scottish or Welsh, I would not like scot-free or to welch. The other day I was at work and this girl showed me her phone, and she was playing a game of Words with Friends. And that person had played the classic racist word, niggardly. So they had played the word niggardly on the phone, which of course is a very old Anglo-Saxon word that has nothing to do with the word nigger. But I had a very weird exchange with her. She says, "Look," and she kind of looked in disbelief at me and said, "The person I'm playing against is black." She couldn't believe that a black person played that word. So then I told her, well, you know, it has nothing to do with any racist language. It's a very old Anglo-Saxon word. She was looking at me like, yeah, you know, you're telling me something I already know. Everyone knows that. So, you know, not too racist. And then I said, it means tight-fisted, cheap. And she said, really? I thought it meant ignorant. Which blew me away, because it wasn't, I guess the racism just didn't come from where I thought it would. So she thought, she seemed to know that the word had nothing to do with nigger, but she still thought, one, that it meant you were ignorant, which is why it was offensive to blacks, and so, you know, so I guess there's the other built-in assumption that blacks are more ignorant, and so would be more likely to be offended by that word. And I use that example just to show the weird, twisted paths our oversensitivity to race when we speak can take us down. You know, we don't use certain words around people, but we do strange things with them in our mind, or only use them around people we don't think they'll offend. Now, obviously, there are just, you know, hateful ideas, phrases, and words that one shouldn't use. But not in a sanitized sort of way, just because you're a kind, decent, loving person. The reason all this sprang to mind is actually when I was watching sports with my oldest son. He has more than once made comments enjoying the commentary, the sports commentary, of rugby announcers. But he hasn't really picked up that he's enjoying these British announcers more than he's enjoying the American announcers. But they'll say things like, see ya.
You did. Come on, more. Oh.
I guess that guy's a camera hung. They'll say things like, and then he took off like a young stag. Which is something an American announcer would just not say. And I don't believe it's just a British flair. You know, the guy who describes the young stag was Polynesian. Another game I watched later the same day, a white South African was described as I think a monster of a human. I mean, Americans will use words like freak, but the fear of making a statement that could be construed as racist, calling a black person, comparing a black person to an animal, or comparing a white person to an animal on a field that a bunch of black people are on. Like, it just gets really complex and crazy, and I do think that we have a sort of neurosis that affects how we speak. You see it in sports announcing, but it's all over. And so, you know, there's a lot of legitimate history to that, obviously. There's a famous example. I don't remember what school, what announcer, I don't remember exactly the year, but sometime in the 60s or 70s, a recently racially integrated football team their announcer, who was a famous announcer, was fired because you'll have to excuse me, sir. He was calling a play, and running back took off downfield, black kid, and he said, "Look at that monkey run." And that is famous even to this day. Obviously, you don't choose the word monkey.
The word monkey?
Unless you're being a racist. Yes, you need to give me privacy, son. The monkeys aren't particularly fast. There's history, there's legitimate history. And there's legitimate history to dealing with racist history and racist language. But we have to realize that, you know, we're being oversensitive. And we have to have the courage and the honesty to use language and use poetry and to speak poetically. Let the chips fall where they will. It is more important to speak beautifully than it is to speak inoffensively. That's the point of this video, I guess. Speak beautifully, not inoffensively. Alright, y'all. Peace out.